Hello and welcome to Redemption Talks, a podcast where we have honest conversations. That's the wrong camera. Here I am.
How honest can you be when you're on the wrong feed?
You know, I'm not starting over. We're just
Don't start over.
Going.
I love that.
We've had multiple comments and conversations as we've sat here about how this is going to be either a complete train wreck or one of it. I mean,
why can't it be both?
It's going to be a train wreck. There's no way this will be the best podcast we've ever made. It's definitive. Hello and welcome to Redemption Talks, a podcast where we have honest conversations about faith, culture, and life. Each episode we will explore the hope of how the gospel speaks into real questions that we all face. Whether we are diving into scripture or talking through cultural issues or hearing from different voices in ministry, our goal is to encourage and challenge you as we walk the journey together. If you have questions, comments, concerns, ideas for a topic, you can let us know on our website at redemptionmi.org/podcast. If you have a more creative name for a URL, let me know. But that's the simplest one I could think of. redemptionmi.org/podcast, where you can submit a topic, a question, or a complaint. Whatever you need. Whatever's on your heart in the moment.
Not sure we need more complaints in church world, but okay.
You know, if that's what you need to do to get something off your chest, by all means.
I feel like there's a certain percentage of people that when they hear that, it's like they love it. They're ready.
Awakens.
Finally, there's an outlet.
Is that a spiritual gift? The
Complaining?
Gift of complaint?
You know, it sure happens enough where you'd think it might be.
Oh, I love it. Before we dive into our conversation today, let me introduce the host that I have with me. My name is Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Redemption Church. I'm joined today by Justin Kemmerer, our executive pastor. Justin.
Good morning. Good day.
Good day.
Because you never know.
That's true. We don't know when you're listening to it.
Watching.
Good evening for those evening
And I
listeners.
regret that last time I didn't do this, but how are you?
We started that a few weeks ago.
I'm good.
Here's the problem. I don't think he asked me how I was.
No, I didn't.
So that's what had me stuck, because I wanted to be like, I'm doing well. How are you?
I was going to follow up with your introduction of you just had a really exciting weekend. You got to see your favorite team.
I want to hear about that.
Beat my least favorite team, which not only is it good to root for the Bills when the Bills need to win, it's also great to root against the Chiefs. Sorry, everybody that loves Patrick Mahomes, but you're wrong. It's great to see Mahomes lose.
Everybody is welcome to Bills Mafia anytime.
Yeah.
It was like family. And it may have been the loudest stadium that I have ever been in. I've been in Michigan Stadium, which is 100,000. Sunday in the Bills Stadium, like 70,000.
Yeah.
And it was loud. And Patrick Mahomes got hit a lot.
Hard.
And was down on the ground a lot.
He's fine.
And we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
It's great. Now, I know nothing about sports. This is the last season in their stadium. Is that the historic?
The Bills are building a
nature?
stadium across the street, and so my three boys, I never actually had to really convince them to kind of adopt the same sports teams, which is just kind of fun.
Yeah.
And so they all love the Bills just as much as I do. And so it was an opportunity for them to see the old stadium before next year the Bills move in to a new stadium across the street. Difference between a 1960s, 70s stadium to a $2 billion stadium.
Are you anticipating it being like a better experience, or do you think, yeah?
Yeah.
Are they-
will be.
Like, will it be like high tech, like on the SoFi Stadium kind of level? That's a beautiful stadium.
I mean, it's too. I think the price tag is over $2 billion at this point, and you could see it where we sat. You could see the new stadium across the street that just like towers over the old stadium.
Oh, really?
The old stadium's built into the ground.
Yeah.
The new stadium's up. They actually used for the English Premier League fans of soccer, football. Tottenham Hotspur in England. They kind of used their stadium as a model. All these things that only matter to me, but
Here's the real question. Are they still going to have to pay fans by the hour to shovel snow out of the stadium before games? That's what I really care about. I feel like that's part of just...
They won't have to clear as much.
Because it has no capacity to close.
It doesn't.
In the elements, right?
Honestly, the concern was the weight of snow that Buffalo can get on the roof and all those stuff. So they actually have a heating mechanism. The way the roof is, it is supposed to cover a majority amount of the seats.
Okay.
And there's some like crazy technology where they have like perforated siding on the outside. It looks pretty sweet, but state of the art to where it's supposed to really control the wind too, protect the fans.
Interesting.
Maybe I'll need to take you guys someday.
I'm up for a redemption field trip
to Buffalo.
To Buffalo.
You will not be disappointed in the food. I'll just say that.
What's the staple? What's a staple food in Buffalo?
Well,
Wings. Idiot.
I'm connecting dots. I'm connecting dots that have never been connected before.
That was awesome.
Like I said,
Mark's face.
train wreck.
Oh, that got me. Mark's face like, I'm connecting dots.
Oh man.
Wings were had multiple times.
Yeah. Great. I'm excited for you. It's glad to have you back. Sorry you had to come back to Michigan.
It's okay.
Joining us today also, Steve Bush, our worship pastor. Steve, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. More importantly, how are you?
Man. Thank you guys for caring for me so well. I'm so good. I'm a little thrown off today. I don't know how today's going to go, but we'll survive. We'll make it through. We'll persevere because we do.
That's what we do.
Because that's what we do. That's what we're known for. A really important question for today. Justin made a request that our opening questions are not divisive enough. And so heading into the holiday seasons, I think we need to introduce for people at home, just to get you ready for the Thanksgiving dinner or the Christmas get together. You have to kind of acclimate yourself to those arguments that are coming in your family, and so what better way to do that than for us to have arguments?
Sweet.
And then to kind of slowly dip your toe into that. But with the holiday season approaching, one of the most divisive questions about the holidays is around Christmas movies. Specifically, what qualifies as a Christmas movie? And I think the most divisive question for people has been surrounding one of the greatest actors of our time, Bruce Willis,
Listen,
and whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And if it is it the Christmas movie? Is it the best Christmas movie of all time?
you added a couple questions there.
I'm trying to set the stakes for everybody. Let everyone know what's at stake here.
Yeah, if you live in a hole and you've never seen Die Hard,
That's me.
and are you serious?
That's serious.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen Die Hard 4.
And it all
that
made
the
sense
one
to you.
where they're driving the bus around?
Yeah,
and
through
it's
the
got
tunnel,
like
there's a helicopter that they fly a vehicle into or something. I don't
it's
know.
okay.
It's crazy.
It's okay.
It was fine.
Yeah. Caveat, have the remote ready. There's a couple scenes in the original that you can easily kind of forward.
This is not an endorsement for you to watch it with your kids on Christmas morning.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
I absolutely think Die Hard 1 is a Christmas movie. There are Christmas lights involved. There's Christmas music involved. There's like a Santa-esque even costume at one point. It takes place at a Christmas party.
Is it Christmas Eve?
It's Christmas, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. He shows up from New York and gets a ride to the Nakatomi Tower. Is that what it's called? Nakatomi Tower? With a Christmas present, I think, in hand. Yes.
I am in the camp that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
What makes it a Christmas movie?
Other than
It's on
the eight
Christmas
things
Eve.
that I
Beyond what Steve just said, for you, what makes it a Christmas movie?
Just the setting is the background of Christmas. They're celebrating Christmas. It's about living to see another day. Christmas.
What's his name? What's the main character's name?
Bruce Willis.
I know his actor's name. What's the guy's? And is it John? I want to say John Candy. I don't think it's John Candy. All right.
It's not John
John
Candy.
Main character of Die Hard.
Why am I blanking on this? It is
John McClane.
John
Oh, yeah.
McClane.
John Candy, John McClane, same difference.
It is the same.
Same thing. Does John McClane walk away with a good, hearty Christmas lesson? Does he learn the true meaning of Christmas?
Don't die.
It's worth fighting for.
Don't
Kill,
die hard.
kill bad guys.
Kill bad guys.
Just like Jesus did on December 25th. That's the message of Christmas.
That's right.
Throw Hans Gruber off a tower.
Hans Gruber. Yes.
Alan Rickman in his
Maybe you were
pinnacle
just
performance.
confusing John McClane with John Candy, the clarinet player in the Christmas
One of the
movie,
greatest Christmas movies of all time,
Home Alone.
Home Alone.
I just remembered that. What does he do? He plays clarinet? John
does.
Candy's in.
Yep, he's
Yeah, he gets the mom home in their. They ride in a.
Oh,
truck.
right. He's a polka
like a
band. He's part of a
Hertz.
polka
Yep,
band.
polka.
Yeah, they drive home in a
right.
in a moving truck. They're all sitting in the back of a U-Haul.
Listen, I will give this plug. There's a new documentary all about John Candy on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, really?
And it's awesome.
That would be fascinating.
It's great.
Hmm.
There you go.
Seeing as I've never seen Die Hard, I can't make a definitive claim.
Well, apparently it's not a Christmas movie because it's not enough for you to watch it around Christmas.
No.
So I guess this wasn't as divisive as you thought it was going to be.
Well, it's I don't. Here's my thing. Here's what I'll say for Christmas movies. Okay. I think the central theme of the movie must be Christmas. So I think there's actually an argument to say that Home Alone isn't, by that definition, isn't a Christmas movie.
No, that's you couldn't be more off. The central theme is Christmas because it's the family being together on Christmas.
It happens to be the setting by which the circumstances arise, but it could also be a family vacation in the summer. They could be leaving for summer vacation.
So for you, Home Alone would hit the same if this was like July 4th. Man, we really need to be together on July 4th.
For our barbecue. We got to get together.
Can't miss out on
We
that.
got to
Hot
get
rods.
home to see Kevin for the 4th of July fireworks.
See, because if it wasn't Christmas, I think they're staying in France and just letting Kevin be for the rest
It's
rest
4th
of the
of July.
week.
He's fine.
I mean, It was the 90s. Parents left their kids to do all sorts of things. Right. So let's be real about what parenting was like in the 90s. My argument is, let's go by the pinnacle of Christmas movies, which is, without a doubt, Tim Allen's Santa Claus. It is the best Christmas movie of all time. There is no argument against it.
So again, I'm not going to say that's the best, but for someone who grew up watching Tim Allen on one of the best sitcoms ever, Home Improvement. Yep. I love Santa Claus.
It's great. It's a great movie.
I don't think it gets better. I think it's great for kids. Kids enjoy it. There are jokes in that movie that I am still getting, still learning for the first time as an adult when I watch it, and it's even funnier. That movie holds up. It's great.
It is great.
So that, if you remove Christmas from that movie, it falls apart. The whole theme of that movie is Christmas.
Okay, but just for the record, if Christmas is removed from Home Alone, you now agree that would fall apart too.
Yes, but if you were to swap Christmas for something else,
like Labor Day,
if you take Christmas out of
important
Home
holiday.
Alone, it becomes Die Hard for a kid.
True. You painted a really clear picture.
I'm bringing it back. Call back.
I don't even know what to say to that. I have nothing. That's my argument. So that's why I would say I think there are actually fewer Christmas movies, true Christmas movies. People lump in Harry Potter as Harry Potter's a Christmas movie. It's not a Christmas movie. I understand why you like to watch it around Christmas. It has Christmas feels around it. There's some winter scenes. That's all good. I understand that. That's totally fine. But Harry Potter's not a Christmas movie.
How do you feel about Polar Express, Mark?
Now that's the divisive one.
Awful.
Boring. My wife.
Boring. I just want the kid to be able to go back home and go back to sleep. He's so tired all night long.
Kill me. My wife loves this movie.
I love this movie.
It's not a great movie.
You guys are insane in the membrane.
The music's great.
The music's great.
Fantastic.
Listen,
It's
I've had
so slow.
I've had this debate.
So slow.
I would say compared to Home Alone, yes, it's not meant to be an action movie. But when we've had this conversation so many times with the Kemmers. Allie, your wife, is very passionate about it. Would use the word hate. Hates it.
Wow.
She would use the word creepy. And to that, I would say, when you look at the illustrations of, is it Van Allsburg, the original artist that drew these sketches for the book, for Jumanji, for the Polar Express, he sketched the characters like that. So they just animated it to look like his sketchbook. Therefore, it's not creepy.
Well,
I love it.
His book is creepy. So it's not just the movie.
Our boys grew up on it. They grew up putting on bathrobes and burying their heads in the snow and trying to wake up and playing all the parts. And I actually owned a Santa costume, and I would show up on Christmas Eve and knock at the door and pretend I was Santa, and I would talk about the greatest gift of all is friendship. Wouldn't you agree? And my boys would like look up at me, and like halfway through, they'd figure it out. They'd be, Daddy? But maybe that proves your point of creepy, because when they said daddy, it was kind of like, cool, this is my dad /
Also,
you're about to murder me?
concern and deep anxiety.
Right.
Yeah, my wife was going to kill me because she loves Polar Express, and God bless her. My wife's allowed to have her own opinions. It's not that great of a movie. Other than the music, there's great spectacle. There's so many other movies I want my children to grow up to appreciate.
Wow.
But they'll
You
grow up
seem
to
like
love
you
it.
don't want to watch too many Christmas movies.
Other than Santa Claus.
Not with the parameters.
That's
it has
true.
to literally be Santa at the North Pole to be a Christmas.
Look, all I'm trying to do is make the definition of Christmas movie only fit the Santa Claus with Tim Allen, so that it is definitive. That is the Christmas movie.
I will say, for those who like the fun of Christmas and the Santa Claus story, obviously just for fun, Arthur Christmas is always a
Great.
classic.
Have you seen that?
It's a great story.
No, Arthur, like the little cartoon Arthur.
No.
What is he? An anteater?
I mean,
Listen, this is what absolutely.
the kid's face, who is Arthur in Arthur Christmas, does maybe resemble a little bit the anteater, but
I can 100% say, sit the family down, watch Arthur Christmas. It's great.
I would also say sit the family down and watch Claus, Netflix a few years ago. Claus with a K.
Yes.
Like
So,
Klaus.
yes,
Yes,
it is.
that's
You think
great.
it is Klaus, and it is just a really unique,
Creative.
storytelling of.
The
Christmas.
Postman, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
so
The
great.
Postman.
Yeah, I agree.
And then one I didn't know about until a few years ago. It came out a few years ago, but I didn't realize it when it came out. It's called 8-Bit Christmas.
Yes.
It is basically a remake, like a modern Christmas story, and it's all about this kid wanting a Nintendo, which hits for those who got a Nintendo on Christmas, which was me one year.
Yep.
And it is, I can't say anything else, but it might be the one I am now looking forward to watching the most every year over the
It's
last
so
couple
good.
years.
And for those who grew up in that era, like it's
Yes.
so nostalgic to watch.
It's so nostalgic.
For us who have lost our dad.
And then it just hits you.
Not to be a spoiler alert, but there's that aspect of it.
Spoiler
too.
alert, the first time we were watching it, I just lost it at the end. Won't give anything away. I look over and Will, our oldest, is on the couch just sobbing. Didn't know at the time Allie's in the kitchen just losing it too. And so it has all the feels.
It does have all the feels. That was like a 25-minute opener.
It's not even done yet because I would be remiss. It would be a sin for me not to mention what is maybe also the greatest Christmas movie. If not the greatest, it's certainly second to Santa Claus, and that's Muppet Christmas Carol.
Wow.
That's it.
Talk about nostalgia. That's my era.
It's so good. I just watched it with my kids last night, and they got bored, and now I need to find new kids.
The option is not to find a new movie.
Like, how
Find
can
new
you
kids.
not?
Isn't Gonzo Scrooge?
Gonzo is Charles Dickens. He's the narrator.
Oh, he's the narrator.
But Michael Caine is Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
good. That's
Man,
the
I
best.
wish I could do a Michael Caine impersonation right now. Just hear him and watch him interact with Kermit and Fozzie
I know,
Bear.
like especially at that, but like if this is such a dumb sidetrack, but like Michael Caine in his career at that time, notable stage actor,
Yes.
film actor,
Yes.
like at the peak of his career, and they're like, we want you to act across from Kermit the Frog,
Right.
and you need to take it very seriously. And he was like, done. This will be my best performance ever, and honestly, it might be.
I grew up on the Muppets. When my boys were young, I bought a VHS, like a 4 DVD set of all of the Muppet Show episodes.
Oh, yeah.
But when the Muppet Show was on when I was growing up, we loved it. It was like Saturday Night Live for kids because Mark Hamill from Star Wars might show up and be the guest on the Muppets, or Christopher Reeve as Superman might show up. It was so awesome.
I need to adjust a camera.
I'm 48 years old, everybody. Just adjusting.
While we're talking about the Muppets, the next best Muppet movie is Muppet Treasure Island. So just
Wow, just not even the original Muppet movie.
No.
The journeying to California to start their movie career.
it's great. That's a great one. But Muppet Treasure Island is
I want to tell you, I'm going to watch that. I've never seen it.
You've never seen Muppet Treasure
No,
Island?
I only saw the Christmas Carol and the Muppet Show.
Yep.
I saw when they remade the Muppets a few years ago. That was good. It had
with Jason Segel.
Yep. Ricky Gervais, I think, was in it. That was great.
Yeah, those were great. The Muppets are fantastic. Muppet Treasure Island might change your life.
Okay.
Might change your whole life.
That's strong.
It's a
I have
bold
seen
claim.
all these movies, but my kids, I guess, are not an option to be your new kids because I cannot guarantee that my kids have seen any Muppet movie. Because, like your kids, they would be bored.
I'm sure they would. And you might need to look for new kids too.
Sweet.
I'll look for new kids for other reasons.
Oh, man. Well, I don't know if that was as divisive as you were hoping. If you got if it scratched your argument bone.
I like the banter, no matter what.
I do too.
Great.
And you know what? I don't know what camera I'm looking at. You like the banter too. You know it.
I know you do. I can see it in the analytics because you stop watching after we're done with the banter.
It's like we talk for 15 minutes about nonsense, and at minute 16, it's I don't care about the spiritual stuff.
Bible.
Give me Muppets.
Well, I'm happy to announce that this is the start of our new Muppet podcast. So.
What if someone just appeared from under the table and it was a Muppet?
Oh man, right here! What an opportunity that would have been. Surely we have a Muppet somewhere in this church. Well, while we're on the topic of holidays and seasonal things, we just had Halloween. Halloween was a thing that happened a few days ago. We're heading into Thanksgiving, heading into Christmas. We're recording this at the beginning of November, so it's holiday season. Our Christmas decorations are up at our house. So if that offends people, I know it offends Justin.
You know what? Many houses made the shift real quick after Halloween to Christmas.
I just conclude that those kind of people, your kind, are not thankful. There's no gratefulness. You want to skip right past Thanksgiving.
Or do they love the Christmas spirit that much where they just want to get a jump on it?
Well, then I would conclude that because they want to take their stuff down January 1st, that they don't love the Christmas spirit. They just love the pagan
So your
rituals,
argument is if you
and
set
they
up
like the busyness of the season, and so culturally, once culture says we're done, then they're done too. And so
On to the next thing.
they don't realize that Jesus is still just 7 days old and then just 2 weeks old. And he's
even though we know that he wasn't born on December 25th.
Wait, what?
What? But I see what you're saying. You're saying if someone adopts the belief that I want to set up early for Christmas, then you should stay set up till March 1st.
yeah, that's just my
If you're
vote.
2 months early, you got to
Yeah,
be 2 months late.
Absolutely.
Well, if you're staying up till March, you might as well just stay till Easter. It's right.
Merry Easter.
It's right there.
Yes.
Christmas to Easter is the true Christmas holiday for Christians. Is
No,
what I'm saying.
I get all the sentiment, and I like to keep things
Yeah.
Separate?
set up
Oh.
into January.
I'm going to keep on jumping in, attempting to finish your thought, and we'll see what the stats are and how many right ones I get.
Oh man, if I was truly dedicated to editing, I would have like a counter up of every interruption. Yeah, the reality is my life is just dictated by whatever decorations are up at the store. So as soon as decorations go up, it's like, oh well, I guess it's Christmas season. We might as well throw those up. Which is why we have Halloween decorations up in August. I don't, but
Full disclosure, I had the thought last night, even though I tend to land where you land. We have our own separate decorations, kind of like for the fall, Thanksgiving, and then we shift to Christmas. However, we inherited my mom, when she was alive, collected over the 80s and 90s this product called Snow Village. And to say that she had a true village would not capture it. When you walked into our house growing up, my dad he fed it just as much as she did. He would get 8-foot tables and stackers and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Our whole bottom floor of our house was just a massive snow village. And so when she passed away, the kids kind of got, hey, grab whatever pieces you want. So I was just over there a few weeks ago and we snagged the ones that were the coolest that we just loved. And so now we've got to figure out, where are we going to put these things? And so I did have the thought of I know it's only, the beginning of November, but we got to get the Christmas village set up. And
I do love that kind of stuff, though.
yeah, that's my general rule with decorations is I I don't really get any say because Julie's the boss. Julie gets to do what she wants in her house. But I don't like decorations inconveniencing to the point where it takes over, because that was my dad growing up was. It's train village. You need the train station and the post office and the doctor's office and the general store and the homes for every single villager that's
and the
there.
sledding hill.
And the sledding hill
yes.
and the ice rink and every single component. And somehow it still finds a way to grow every single year where it takes over larger and larger spaces. And it's like, well, now I know why you don't want to put it up on November 1. It's because for 2 to 3 months out of the year, we can't use our house.
And every husband wants to contribute toward what the thing that their wife is into. Like Trish years ago got into Willow Tree. Remember Willow Tree?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they had an amazing nativity set, and so we bought the pieces and but we have a lot of Willow Tree stuff that we just had to pump the brakes on because it got a little out of control. Beanie Babies, my dad contributed to that. We've got tubs full of Beanie Babies at our, not my house, but the house. At the house.
I think.
Feels like one of those has to be worth something.
They are, however, they were opened. So,
if you don't have the tag on the ear.
Like I have a double-decker Star Wars action figure briefcase. When you open it up, it's got individual like compartments labeled for certain characters. That if those things were new, it would be worth
boxed
bank. And I used to make my boys ask permission to play with that. Like they couldn't do it when they were super young, but when they kind of got to that age, I'm like, you can play with this, but you have to ask my permission, and then they have to go back into this special cabinet. To this day, they're in the cabinet, not down in their bedrooms.
Who knew? We should have never played with our toys. Just looked at them.
Yeah, that was my dad's philosophy too. Was the Beanie Babies will pay for your college, and we had multiple of them. Remember the Princess Diana bear? That was like the purple bear after Princess Diana passed away. It was the commemorative Beanie Baby Princess Di bear.
We have it.
We had it like 3 of them in cases, and it was like no one touched these because eventually we could sell these for thousands of dollars. It's probably worth 4 cents.
I feel like I completely derailed. You were wanting to get into a serious conversation, but now we're in the whole.
We said at the outset that this was going to be one of those.
This is therapeutic.
This is we're connecting, and so are you with us.
We make no promises with Redemption Talks.
My
it's just honest conversations.
My mom, we just made fun of this a few weeks ago. We were talking about like kind of cleaning things out from her house, and she has this group of like old Charles Dickens style Christmas carolers. I don't know who gave them to her. I don't know where she grew up. I don't know whatever. They look like corpses. They're this tall, and she would line the stairs with each caroler, and they're like, but they look dead.
So Halloween.
They're Halloween. It's terrifying.
Decorations.
That would be a decoration that you could set that up on Halloween, and it would make sense to keep it through Thanksgiving into Christmas. So they were thinking.
Is Charles Dickens a Christmas? What's it called?
Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. Is it a Halloween movie? Full circle. It's ghosts, it's spirits,
haunting.
It's death, it's haunting. I can make an argument that's more about Halloween than it is Christmas.
Well, then you can watch The Nightmare Before Christmas. Is it Halloween or is it Christmas?
My boys love that movie, and I can't stand the music.
I love how off the rails this is.
So we're not going to talk about anything serious today.
This might segue into it, actually. So we weren't allowed to watch it growing up because super conservative church, conservative thing. We weren't allowed to watch it because it was, I don't know, haunting and death, and there's zombies in it or something. So we weren't allowed to watch Nightmare Before Christmas. So the only thing I knew about it was just like the imagery of Jack Skellington and some of the music. And so I didn't watch it until I was in college because I was like, I'm out of the house. I can watch
do whatever I want
before Christmas, and my dad can't stop me. So watch Nightmare Before Christmas, and I still to this day love the concept of the movie. The movie's horrible. It's so stupid. The music's not great. But like Jack Skellington, what a great character.
My boys and I have a debate because we're big into movie scores, and so like John Williams, Hans Zimmer, like we eat it up.
Yeah.
Danny Elfman, who did the music for that movie, but he also did the music for Batman and many, many other movies, a lot of which are great. But he has this style to his composing that just kind of grates on my nerves. And so when I hear like, this is Halloween, this is, or what's this? What's this? I'm just like, my boys know every word of it. And I'm like, get me out of the house.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of that, in my childhood growing up with Nightmare Before Christmas and Halloween and conservative churches and all that, let's talk about Halloween and Christmas, and let's talk about pagan holidays as we're heading into this holiday season. We just coming out of Halloween, heading into Christmas, and inevitably, whenever holiday seasons come up, there's the internet is good for so many things, and it's overwhelmingly a net negative for many other things. One of which is the conversation that comes up of, well, did you know that Christmas is a pagan holiday? Did you know that Easter is a pagan holiday? Did you know that on Halloween, et cetera, these things happen? And if you even acknowledge the name of Halloween instead of Reformation Day with Martin Luther, then you're not a Christian, and blah, 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 blah. So I thought it'd be fun to have a conversation to just talk and help navigate that conversation with people of not trying to come down on someone that, if you have this conversation with someone and says, if you're trick-or-treating with your family, or, you put up Halloween decorations or whatever, then you're celebrating pagan holidays, and, all this horrible stuff happens on Halloween. If you look through history, blah, 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 blah. How do we, in the church, navigate through that? I think, like, my brain goes to Romans 14, which is, the weaker brother passage, which I want to read at some point, but I want to get your guys' initial thoughts with Halloween and how you've navigated that, in your families and in the church, and how pagan are you, Justin? How much of a pagan pastor have you been in your life?
I'm pretty pagan. Surprisingly enough, even I grew up in a conservative home, independent, fundamental Baptist upbringing.
IFB.
Sounds fun.
But IFB, but we're not a part of the IFB, because then you're not independent. So we were really independent.
You're the IFB,
yes.
The independent. Los Baptist.
But for that upbringing, we always trick-or-treated. We always enjoyed the Santa Claus story. Those are kind of the two main ones.
Was it a conversation in your church of like, oh, the Kemmerers are trick-or-treating?
It wasn't, because I just think it was a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Honestly, it really wasn't any type of influence directly from the church. And so, even for our family now, and you've probably, maybe some of you have heard this from other places, but as you're kind of navigating some of these things, just 3 words are reject, redeem, or receive. And so there's certainly aspects of pagan holidays, our world, our culture, absolutely should be rejected. Then there's aspects where it's like, okay, we're not going to fully embrace this, but what parts can be redeemed and have some redeeming value? And then obviously there are things that we can participate that we can just fully receive. I like to have fun. And so kids dressing up as minions or whatever they want to dress up as and go get candy, that's harmless. But there obviously can be a filter around avenues like Halloween, where there is a protection from the darkness and the evil of it,
sure.
Because that is the pursuit of those around, and evil forces are real. And I know even just relationships that we have and that my wife has, where there's actually opportunities to. We talk about who's your one here at Redemption Church, and there are some that my wife has a relationship with that are involved in the witchcraft and those things, which absolutely are real and dark influences. And so that becomes an opportunity. So there's an opportunity for fun. There's an opportunity, obviously, to protect. I love the Santa Claus story because it's just fun.
Yeah.
There's no confusion in our household that is just made up fun.
Sure.
And there's no confusion in our household that it is Jesus first always. And so certainly in our families, we have to come like, where's the line where this actually is going to distract or take away from the glory of Jesus and who he is.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think there is room for us to be human, to have fun, to enjoy creativity and great story writing. Maybe some stories that are better than the Muppets. But that's kind of just where we have landed from our family. I maybe hot topic. I wouldn't, I have a hard time for those who allow their kids to believe in Santa. I mean, there's an age of innocence, and so there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's something that's actually like perpetuated by parents, I would argue that you're starting to distract and take away from the greater opportunity, which is to point your kids to Jesus every chance that we get. And so, yeah, those are my initial 2 cents.
Pretty pagan. Steve, what about you?
I agree with all of that. Even the Santa thing. I mean, as you were saying that, I'm trying to remember at what point did we disclose to our kids that Santa wasn't real. I actually think it might have just naturally come out of like the story I just shared of like we grew up in Polar Express.
Yeah.
And even because I think his name is Chris Van Allsburg, the author who wrote, I believe he was a believer. And even in the Polar Express book, he's very careful with his words to say that Santa is a symbol, not like the main character. And so even when like I would put on the Santa costume and for fun show up to my house and talk to my boys and, have a great day tomorrow, I was always, as Santa, very intentional to say, what's the real meaning of Christmas? It's about the birth of Jesus, and he's the greatest gift ever. That came out of my mouth when they were toddlers. And so from the very beginning, I think just naturally that conversation was, he's a fun character. This is a fun concept, but the greatest gift and the truest gift is the birth of Jesus, and that's why we give gifts.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming down the chimney, although that's a fun thing to see in a movie.
Right.
We were very intentional to talk about that. As far as Halloween, same upbringing, conservative home, but I've talked about this before in relation to music. I'm thankful that my parents they had convictions, they were conservative, yes, in their beliefs, but they did a lot of redeeming of those things. So we would go trick-or-treating. We would dress up in homemade costumes as ketchup and mustard or as a Christmas present with your arms hanging out. We would do those kinds of things, one, because we didn't have any money growing up, but just to be creative and take part in it. But as we walked down the street, if there was a house, and we did the same with our boys, if there was a house that was just crazy, dark, and we're like, we're just going to walk by that one just because... And I'm not even going to project it on other parents. We knew for us that was a darkness that we just didn't want. I didn't want to scare my boys. So we're going to move on to the next house. So we took part in that. We would never have let our boys, we did with our boys what I wished my parents would have let me do. We would go to Party City and let them pick out a costume. And we would never let them pick out something evil, scary,
Freddy
terror.
Krueger,
No,
Jason.
You're going to be Iron Man. You're going to be Spider-Man, Batman, whatever. So I think there's a way to redeem that and not get so hung up. Like my mentality always goes to, people always, quote the verse, like, do not associate as a Christian with, I get that. Where does that end? Because if you take that mentality and just adopt it across the board, you can't shop anywhere. You can't go to any fast food restaurants. You can't vacation at Disney. You can't have certain subscriptions to TV services because at some point, everything you do is going to have some sort of association with something that is not of the Lord.
Right.
So show discernment, show care, practice your own convictions for your family. That's with your conscience. That's all fine.
Yeah.
But just because you might feel that something is of an evil nature for you, that doesn't necessarily mean that's a sinful thing that you get to project on the world.
Yeah.
And I would just caution people, great, let's just think about that. Where does that ultimately lead to down the path? Because if you're going to boycott Halloween, then you got to boycott McDonald's because they're associated with this movement. Right. Then you got to stop shopping at Target. But then where does that end? And so I do think show discernment, live your life and parent and guide your family based on convictions. Yeah. But don't make those convictions something that you would say, this is a sin versus a non-sin issue, and other people that do it differently than you are living in sin. But I do think there is a blanket statement you could say as it relates to Halloween that Christians should avoid things that are evil. imagery that is evil, costumes that are promoting evil and witchcraft and all those things. But your kid wants to dress up like Luke Skywalker and walk around the neighborhood and get candy. That's not sinful.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we initially kind of talked about, are we talking about this conversation and this topic, my brain went to Romans 14. So I'm going to read a little bit from Romans 14. I'll read from the New Living Translation because it's a little easier. It's more conversational. It's a little easier to kind of discern what's happening in the moment. So this is Romans 14, and this, as a quick introduction for people. So Paul writes this to the church in Rome, and this is basically about that kind of weaker brother, quote unquote, weak faith argument of, well, I'll let Paul explain it. He does a better job. So this is Romans 14, starting in verse 1. Accept other believers who are weak in the faith and don't argue with them about what they think is right or wrong. For instance, one person believes it is all right to eat anything, but another believer with a sensitive conscience will only eat vegetables. Those who feel free to eat anything must not look down on those who don't, and those who don't eat certain foods must not condemn those who do, for God has accepted them. Who are you to condemn someone else's servants? Their own master will judge whether they stand or fall, and with the Lord's help, they will stand and receive his approval. In the same way, and then Paul goes on to talk about, valuing a certain day. So they view one day as holy, and this is in the context of the early church. So celebrating certain holidays, they view this like we're going to celebrate the holiday on this specific day. This is the holy day, and then this other person disagrees, and Paul is saying, don't fight over those things. Don't condemn one another over those things, over what you eat, over what day you celebrate. Verse 10, why do you condemn another believer? Why do you look down on another believer? Remember, we all stand before the judgment seat of God. And then it goes towards the end. And this is what I've always kind of walked away with from this passage. So Romans 14, verse 23, but if you have doubts about whether or not you should eat something, you are sinning if you go ahead and do it. For you are not following your convictions. If you do anything you believe is not right, you are sinning.
That's what I meant by following your convictions.
Yeah,
exactly.
which I think that's helpful to approach this conversation. Like, I grew up very similar upbringing, hyper conservative church. I remember going trick or treating once. I was a mummy. It was the last time we went trick or treating because my church was so invasive in terms of how, like, telling people exactly how to behave, what to do, how to celebrate certain days. And so we go and like, as a church, we have the conversation on Halloween, like, you're not trick-or-treating, you're not trick-or-treating. Oh yeah, no, of course not, we're not trick-or-treating. We would never do that. But if you have someone that comes to you with that conviction to say, Justin, you say you want your kids to dress up, Steve, you want your kids to dress up, like, I just feel convicted that to even take part in this holiday at all would be sin for me. And our response as a church would be, then it is sin for you. That's what Paul is saying. If your convictions are telling you that to have any participation in Halloween, and we'll talk about like Santa, to tell your kids, or even to watch a movie with Santa or read a book, like that just feels like I'm lying, and it feels like I would be in sin. Then it is sin. Don't ignore that. Like, if the Holy Spirit is working in your life to try to reveal something and pull you closer to Jesus, basically what Paul is saying, like, if you continue to ignore that, that is sin. And I think that's helpful in the conversations we approach that, to not say like, oh, well, you're just like, you got to outgrow your conservative roots. You got to loosen up a little bit. It's just fun. It's like, I think you can have that conversation. Absolutely. And I think that's an important conversation, and understand that the person has arrived there, maybe because of ignorance, maybe because of upbringing and tradition or whatever it is. But regardless, that's where they're at that point. So for us to just dismissively be like, well, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Hopefully they've arrived there because they've given it thought and consideration.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And I think yeah. So that's my takeaway from Romans 14. Like, even when Paul opens the chapter by saying, accept those who are weak in the faith, don't argue with them about what they think is right or wrong. I don't think what Paul is saying is don't have the conversation.
Yeah.
I think what Paul is saying is that your goal, and I also think it's worth noting here that he identifies people as weak in the faith, which, if we're extrapolating that would mean they're wrong. Like, this person is wrong to have this view on food, to say I can only eat vegetables. Paul says, you're wrong, but I'm going to accept you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to walk with you as a brother. I'm not going to make every moment of our interaction together as you idiot.
I think it's also maybe a sign of being weak in the faith, to, if you've given the thought and you've landed in a place that is different than someone else, I think this text is also cautioning you to not project your conviction onto someone else. If it's a clear sin issue, Then you can have the debate.
Yeah.
And often these things, they're not clear sin issues. I think for me, I would tell just believers, A, lighten up. Come on, debate something worth debating.
Yeah.
B, show discernment and make sure that your convictions are in line with God's word. And I think what might be pretty clear is avoid things that are evil and dark as it relates to the spiritual realm. I would say it lovingly, if someone they're a Christian and they're decorating their whole yard with witches and demonic things, I would have no problem saying to that, walk me through that.
Yeah.
Walk me through how you landed in that spot, and is that a way to reflect the Lord? Is that a way to redeem? I would say you're just like taking on something that is not of the Lord, and you're not even trying to find a way to redeem that in any kind of redeemable way.
Yeah.
But I had some other thoughts, but I lost my train of thought to what you were saying. I agree with what you were saying.
Yeah, and the two words that came up early on, I think, Steve, you said it, were discernment and conviction, and both of those are actually wisdom living words. Yeah. And so much of Scripture is all about wisdom living. And so when you look at it in the context of conviction, for someone obviously to have a conviction and ignore it, they're living unwise. And there's so many ways that we can make decisions in these contexts that are completely unwise. And to live unwise, is that automatically sin? No. But how I've heard it best and held on to it, it's just like when you're choosing the path of living unwise, either you're inviting temptation or it's not necessarily sin, but you're about to sin. Is kind of just a picture that was painted in just a clear way for me as far as wisdom living. But I think there's such tension for those who actually, wait a second, how come I have that conviction but you don't?
Right.
And I think the danger actually in that sense is act on your conviction. Hold on to your convictions. That's actually important. That's how the Spirit has led you. But start asking questions of one another. It's not an issue to what Steve was just saying. But I think the danger actually for those, that you talked about, a danger of ignorance. But there's potential there. If I actually impose my convictions on others, then actually there's the danger of arrogance. And really just a view of just like viewing yourselves higher than others. And I think that text in is it Matthew 7:1, judge not lest you be judged. Yeah. And so oftentimes we can get defensive and don't judge me. That context is all about debatable matters. So it kind of speaks to some of these convictions. It doesn't speak up against right or wrong. Sure. Absolutely. We can judge right and wrong against Scripture and confront sin, as you guys have shared. But really, that there is a context here where it's actually shouldn't be a judgment against one's convictions who have brought their convictions to the Lord and have those convictions because of the leading of the Holy Spirit. In that way, in debatable matters, we can have good conversations. We can ask questions. We can ask, how did you arrive at that conviction? Right. And that honestly, that can lead to healthy dialogue where even some convictions the Holy Spirit might move and shift you one way or another to have you land differently.
Right. I would just encourage people in general. We've had these conversations, even since having the podcast back, is just show discernment and then show intentionality. I think there's a great opportunity as believers to be in the world and not of the world. And this would be an example. We were just talking this morning before we did this podcast, and maybe we can share the clip that I was sharing with you, like in the show notes or whatever. It's just a really good perspective. But in that perspective, they were talking about, as believers, they redeemed those opportunities where everybody, there might be people who are about the darkness and all the whatever. They go out to their edge of their driveway. They provide the best candy on the block to be generous. The guy busts out a grill and he's frying up bacon. So the candy goes to the kids and a piece of bacon goes to the adults, and he's known as the bacon guy. Another guy hands out
I need to go to that house.
I know.
Next year.
Another guy hands out a can of beer, and he's known. This is the pastor, and he's known as the guy he's the beer guy. But in doing that, in being generous, and I would just go as far to say, being normal, it's opened up opportunities for him to share about his church, for him to ask questions about where they may or may not go for church, to redeem those things. I just think that's a great way to redeem it and be intentional, but then just show discernment. You had mentioned like the Harry Potter thing, and or we were talking about that movie, and is that movie about and I know this is going to light the comments up. I won't respond to the comments, just so you know. For our family, I'll let that be the caveat. We love the Harry Potter movies. Great story, great music, but from the earliest age was I intentional as a dad to talk about we do not believe in these things. These things are real, but we don't believe in them, and we need to guard and talk about what is true and what isn't true. The first time we showed our boys, and we've talked about this, the first time we showed our boys a Harry Potter movie, it had an impact in a very negative way. And I would only attribute that to they were too young to have discernment. I didn't really show great discernment as a dad. Maybe I showed it to them too young. Only one way to find out. I didn't know I was doing that. Sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't intentional.
So we hit the pause button. When I noticed that was the impact it was having, we kind of laid off of it until they were older. And then I showed it to them again when I felt they did have discernment to parse right and wrong. And then it didn't happen. Then they could enjoy it for just the same reason they enjoy going on a Peter Pan ride at Disney. Like, we know we don't believe in magic and sword. Those things are real, but we don't practice them, and we also speak the truth from the word to them, just to show discernment. Now, that doesn't mean what the decisions that we made that you need to make. If you look at that, you're like, you know what? Discernment or not, Christian liberty or not, we're just not going to do that because at its root, it has to do with something that is of a sorcery kind of background. Fine. Then that's your conviction, and that's great, and I celebrate that. What I wouldn't celebrate is if Joe Blow, who's totally against Harry Potter, gets in my grill and tells me that it's sinful for me to do with my family. That we're going to have a debate about.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think in the conversation of discernment, like we live in an age where you have so much information at your fingertips. Now, I think to your detriment, because you can find anyone to support your view, where it's like, I can just Google, why is Halloween bad? And you'll find every type of blog. And why is Halloween good for Christians? And you'll find every type of blog. So obviously, in terms of discernment, we go to the word. Like, God has guidance for us, not in terms of every specific scenario, but in terms of life in general, how to navigate through that. There's guidance in God's word for those things. But I also think in general, you can be discernment about the information that's hitting you. Like, I remember growing up, Pokemon was a big thing growing up, big in schools and for kids my age. And I remember my neighbor down the street was like, they went to a different church, but still a very conservative church. And I remember them telling my family, you can't play with Pokemon because in Japanese it means demon. And I was like, it means pocket monster. Pokemon is pocket monster. But it was in the 90s and you couldn't fact check anything. So you just like heard it from a friend of like, oh my goodness, Pokemon means demon and they evolve. And so you can't, no Christians can do anything with Pokemon because it's demonic.
Or some pastor with an opinion and a giant mouthpiece that everything he said was just adopted as totally true.
Yes.
And they went along with him.
Yes. Yeah. And so we live in an age where exercising discernment, I think, needs to be filtered through the word. I think, like Steve and Justin had pointed out too, there's a difference between having your own convictions and then binding the convictions of someone else. Yeah. And I think I'm trying to give grace to those people to say, okay, well, that person has what they believe is a sin issue. It is a sin for me to watch Harry Potter or to read Chronicles of Narnia or Lord of the Rings or take part in Halloween or whatever it might be. Like, it's a sin for me to do that. And how is it a sin for me, but it's not for you? Mm-hmm. So I know of no other way to talk about it than to just tell you you're in sin if you listen to Aslan.
What you just mentioned is one of my favorite absolute things to say to people who are just so against like Harry Potter or whatever. Because most of the time, the people are like, we will not. But Chronicles of Narnia, oh my gosh.
The lesson I learned about the witch in Aslan.
It's like, are you kidding me? The entire thing is about sorcery and magic and evil versus the light and dark versus the light. Yeah. Who cares that the lion represents Jesus? I mean, I love that imagery and I love that story. But it's just interesting to me that people that are in the Harry Potter movies and movies like that are so dark and evil, but they're totally fine to embrace sorcery if it's in the context of Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
Or Lord of the Rings. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? How do you reject and hate and never entertain redeeming one, but you just are so willing to redeem this when it's at its core the same?
Yeah. Well, I think there's humility that you have to remind yourself to be humble in these conversations, and you have to constantly remember that this is something that I remember having conversations about this with someone like a decade ago of like, it's illogical to think that you are wrong about something. Like if I think I'm wrong about something, I'll just change my mind and then I'll be right about it. So inherently, everyone believes that they're right about the things that they believe. If you didn't believe that, then you wouldn't believe it.
Guilty. You mentioned humility, and I'm like, dang it. I just kind of got hot there about Chronicles of Narnia. Sorry.
Yeah, this is my subtle way of holding Steve accountable. Let's talk about humility for 10 minutes.
You know what? I love when people talk about movies, but when there's a dude in a black sweatshirt who kind of gets loud about it, those kinds of guys.
Oh, man. How do I bring this back to Die Hard?
Full circle. Got to bring it full circle.
But having humility in those conversations to recognize where do I have that same inconsistency where I may not, whether it's with a movie or a holiday or types of clothing or music that I listen to or movies that I watch, TV shows that I watch, like all of those things. I know I have a line for all of those things, but where is it inconsistent? Where it's like, well, it's not okay here because of whatever demonic influence or the evil projected and it goes too far. But then over here with Batman, it's like, I like everything with Batman. I like everything with superheroes. I like maybe that's a blind spot for me, and I do need to be held accountable with certain aspects of that. And I think the humility in that is to be open to having the conversation of, maybe Steve comes to me one day and says, hey, like maybe you're a little too obsessed with this superhero stuff and you're actually missing something with your kids where your kids are stepping into stuff that you're not aware of because you're blind to it. And do I have the humility to allow Steve to have that conversation without immediately saying, but I like Wolverine.
Yeah. I would struggle with that. Full disclosure.
It's hard. It's hard. So I think that's the heart that I want to carry with that Romans 14 Christian is to have the humility of walking alongside. Like the mentality that I always bring to Romans 14 is I think everyone else is the weaker brother. But at some point, in somewhere in my theology, in my view of God, in my view of daily Christian walk in life, I am the weaker brother in something. Like, surely I'm not right about everything. So do I have the humility to allow someone else to step into my life and say, like, maybe you shouldn't be doing this? And you're like, no, actually. So.
And not, Justin, do you have any more thoughts on that? I feel like I've
Nothing
jumped
serious.
Well, the rest of the text that you shared is an interesting thing about being a stumbling block and not causing others to stumble. I'll never forget this. I grew up believing and being taught that I can't do anything that would possibly make anybody stumble in their walk. And years ago, this was taught at our church, and it was like a light bulb went off. What it really means, and just to put it in the context of like, let's talk about alcohol for a second. People are all over the spectrum on that issue. If I don't mind drinking, but I know that you have not a preference issue, but you have a struggle with alcohol. And I am let's say we're in the same restaurant, and I know you're coming into that restaurant, and I know you're going to sit across the aisle from me, and I know you have a struggle with that. Not a preference, not a conviction, but struggle with it. And I choose to do it anyways. That's what this text is talking about. I am now being a potential stumbling block for you because I know you have a struggle in that area. It's not that I'm going to avoid doing something because so-and-so has a conviction about the topic. That's not the same thing. And so I think in the same way as you're showing discernment, whatever, is you show that kind of care. That's a humility piece. That if you have a knowledge of someone who has a struggle with an issue and you're in the presence where the visual of it would cause them to stumble or even just cause your own testimony to become not above reproach, that's what that's talking about.
Yeah, and so, there's debatable matters, but then there's sin matters. And it's like in the scenario that you just gave, like you would have become the tempter.
Right.
And so it's just like, obviously, we got to have the awareness and just the clarity to recognize those situations. And that's what it means to cause somebody to stumble, causing them to sin. And in those moments, how could we ever be the one to be the tempter, to be bringing other brothers and sisters down?
Yeah, I mean, and one of the questions that came in last week was about Christian liberty, and that we're talking about Halloween, Christmas, whatever, and we could like do a whole episode on that. But ultimately, those things also come down to Christian liberty. Am I allowed to redeem Halloween? Yeah. Am I allowed to redeem Christmas? Yup. Am I allowed to redeem Thanksgiving, which at its core was about a bunch of invaders to North America who invaded a land that wasn't their own? I mean, how deep do we want to go?
So you don't celebrate Columbus Day.
I'm just saying, Christian liberty. Am I free to have the drink? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Am I totally free to have the drink if I'm across the table from someone who has a genuine struggle with alcohol? Then I don't think I have the liberty.
Yeah.
Then I think in Christian humility, I should show deference to that brother or sister in Christ and refrain from my liberty for their sake.
Yeah. Well, and here's the hard part for me is in those moments of what I think is like dying to our preference to walk alongside and to encourage a brother or sister, that should actually bring us great joy. And it doesn't for a lot of us. I think especially in the conversation, like remove the alcohol. I think it's easy to connect the dots of like someone that has a struggle. Maybe they have a history or the family has a history of alcoholism. It's like, okay, yeah, I can see and connect the dots, and it's easy for me to set aside the drink because I know what this person's been through. But for something that I really love, like maybe my family is all about Halloween. Like we love doing family costumes and get-togethers, but we also have this conviction of this family that we want to invite to come along with us, and they're against Halloween. Now what do we do? Like it should bring you great joy to find a way to walk alongside that family and say, you know what? I'm going to set aside for 1 year. We're not going to do our family Halloween thing. And we're going to find another way to celebrate with a family that we're trying to minister to walk alongside. There's joy in that, that you're able to walk alongside someone else and set aside temporarily. I can set aside my preference that I know it's okay to have the drink. I know it's okay to bring my family to get candy. But I'm going to walk alongside someone that has a different view than I do. And is that, like what better example of what Christ has done for us than to lay down not just a preference, but to lay down your life for someone. What a cool opportunity you have that often our flesh is like, but I like Harry Potter.
Yeah. Agree. You did it, man. You landed us.
We did it.
You did it.
It wasn't a total train wreck.
Not at all.
It was, you know what kind of train ride it was like? The Polar Express.
I disagree.
We were swerving on the ice.
I enjoyed this, and I don't enjoy the Polar Express.
Well, maybe now you will.
There are lines to be drawn.
That's
draw the line at Valentine's Day. Dumb. Pagan holiday. Don't celebrate it. Love your spouse every day.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day, celebrate it because Fugitive is a St. Patrick's Day movie. Love it.
Oh.
Like one of my all-time favorites.
Harrison Ford.
And then you really do need to draw the line because the Easter Bunny is the stupidest idea ever out there.
I don't even know where, I have to look up, the fact that the bunny lays eggs should be a massive red flag to us.
That's so true.
What idiot came up with this holiday?
Hey, if anyone's watching this podcast and they're super concerned about the leadership of redemption and what we will and will not allow, I can safely say we will never have someone dressed up as the Easter Bunny within our church on Easter Sunday. Can I say that we would never do some sort of egg hunt on a Saturday of the week before Resurrection Sunday? No, I won't say that. It might happen.
We won't have somebody dressed up like a
bunny. No.
It'll be a chicken. It'll be a Chick-fil-A chicken.
It'll be a treasure hunt. Yes.
Easter chicken.
No, Chick-fil-A has cows. Eat more chicken.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
If someone's dressed up as the bunny, it'll only be to shame the bunny.
Right.
To point more glory at Christ.
I want to share a brief story before we end this, just because it's on topic. It's on topic about one person's convictions become the other. I have a family memory, Thanksgiving weekend, standing on the corner of this beautiful, Thomas Kincaid kind of small town, and we're all standing there, and my brother and I are talking about our favorite Christian band, Petra. A Christian rock band.
Classic.
And my cousin from my dad's brother's family is like, just going after us on Petra and listening to it. The very next thing out of his mouth was, "Do you guys watch South Park?" And my brother looks at him and goes, "You mean the cartoon where Santa beats the crap out of Jesus?" That's what I'm talking about, where sometimes these convictions don't even make sense.
Yeah, discernment.
Discernment.
Use it, people. Use discernment. Oh, man. Well, thanks for the conversation, guys. I'm glad
You're welcome.
we made it.
Yes, I said crap.
Yeah. Let's talk about that Christian liberty. We'll do that. We'll do that on what would probably be the least viewed podcast episode. It'll be like the New Year's podcast. We'll talk about that. Oh, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning into Redemption Talks. We hope today's conversation encouraged you, gave you something to think about. I've got lots to think about.
Laugh about.
I got to watch Die Hard. You got to watch Muppet Treasure Island.
Yep.
Man, there's
Just
lots
don't
of
watch Polar Express.
and nobody watch Polar Express. I'm sorry, Julie. We gotta ban it in the household.
Wow.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit like, subscribe, leave us a review. Leave us a review on your podcast service of choice, whether it's Spotify or Apple. That helps us get seen by more people, which would be great. Share it with a friend. You can also, again, submit questions, comments, concerns, thoughts, ideas at redemptionmi.org/podcast. Connect with us in the future. We live stream our Sunday services on Sunday morning at redemptionmi.org. Until next time, keep pursuing redemption in every area of your life. And remember that God has you where he has you to advance the gospel through you.